Starting a new alt character in Borderlands 4 is just pain. All that work that you did on your first character is just completely reset. But hey, at least you can skip the campaign and start at level 30 on this forsaken beach with Claptrap. So I'll be going over the top 5 things you need to do to get your old character up to scratch and on your way to level 50 as fast as possible. For those of you who are playing this game for the first time, or you want to start a new character and redo the entire campaign again, then this video will still help you, but only when you finish the campaign. Let's not waste any time and let's get started, shall we? Oh, and I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. Thank you for your time, you lovely Vault Hunter. Step 1. Get your safe houses. If you'd like to find out the exact locations, you can head on over to the Borderlands 4 interactive map to help you. You will also need to get every order silo. These act as teleport points for when you want to traverse the map easier, and also they're very handy because you can actually use the silos to launch you in a direction. Now you can do it the way that I did, which I literally just spent an hour or so just going through the entire map. I started on the left side and I moved to the right side. All I did was rush through, grab the points, and get out. That's it. The whole map took me about an hour and a half or so. However, there is a slight problem with the Carcadia district, or the middle patch per se. I don't know any other method of getting in there with an old character, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. Maybe I've missed it, but this is something that is not very easily explained or just shown to you. The way I got around getting into this area was actually starting the Means of Ascent quest by the replay option. When you start the replay quest, it immediately teleports you to one of the safe houses in the Carcadia district. You can then immediately leave the quest, and when you TP back to the main map, you will unlock the safe house. This allows you to move through that whole area and simply get all of these safe houses. There is one problem, which I'm not 100% sure why this is the case. When I did this, I did not get the SDU points for that safe house. I don't know if this is intended or if you do get those points in the beginning of the game, but I hope that they do change this. Please let me know in the comments below if you guys know anything around this, or how to fix this or how to get into the middle area, but I just don't know. If you feel like you are dying while trying to do this, please, and this applies to pretty much the entire video until later on, make sure to switch off UVH1. There is absolutely no need. You are severely undergeared. You cannot survive in UVH1. You can even go easy mode for this and then switch back to normal or hard when you start to farm some initial gear. Getting all of the town's safe houses and order silos is just so important and will make your life easier when trying to move around later on as you try and progress through the map. It is worth the time and hassle, trust me. Another way of getting these safe houses and so on is actually starting certain quests that immediately unlock them, but I'll be honest, I just find that spending an hour or two to rush around the map and get them is just not that bad. Step 2, get your storage deck upgrade points. This does tie into the first step because you'll naturally gain your SDU points as you get more safe houses, but slowly gathering them through doing different points on the map and so on is crucial. For one, your backpack slots. Getting back up to 70 slots is just a must-have when you start farming gear. And 2, your bank points. When you start with an old character, you cannot deposit anything into your bank until you match or go above the amount of items that you banked with your previous character, which I'll be honest, needs to change. So if you are watching this and it has changed, then you don't need to worry about this. But for now, this must change. I personally think if they do anything with cross progression, at least do the bank system or the bank slots, please, because this is just weird. Then of course, slowly getting through your ammo and lost loot is important. You can decide to collect things or do things along the way when you get all your safe houses and order silos and so on. That is up to you. Me personally, I would rather come back when I'm level 50 and fully geared to clear everything through the map a lot faster. Drill sites, caves, bunkers, everything like that is just very good for SDU points as well. Then we move on to step 3, which is get your first few legendaries and gear. Again, I want to reiterate this. If you are still under geared, I would highly recommend that you turn off UVH entirely until you have leveled a few more times and you've gathered a bit more gear to feel stronger. This step does come down to your personal preference, and as you play the game, do more things, you will naturally find some legendaries. But if you would like a few recommendations from me, the one and only Splash Zone boss in the early game is just fantastic to farm for some good purple gear as well as legendary items. This is no secret or anything. Everyone knows that Splash Zone is the boss to go for in the beginning and also in the late game. His legendary shield, the fireworks, is absolutely amazing at clearing groups of enemies right up until the end game. His lead balloon legendary was not my favorite until I actually landed up making my Harlow ult and learned how to use it a bit better. A little pro tip with this thing, run fairly close to enemies and just stare at the ground and shoot, and you can just see this thing absolutely shreds enemies. Horus drops some decent legendaries like the Infinity XXXL, I think it is, although I find this to be very build dependent. Sydney Pointy Legs right next to Horus drops the Swarm Grenade, which is very nice as an ordnance. Rock and Roller drops the Swan Song Pistol, which is currently broken with its infinite damage scaling. Leader Willem drops Rainbow Vomit, the shotgun that has 3 elements. And Callus drops the Hot Slugger. I mean, we all know how good the shotgun is, let's be honest here. It's insane how strong it is, even if you're not using Ricochet Rafa. The Wombo combo with Baby Grunt is also a fantastic option. There are so many more places, so many more bosses, and so many more legendaries, so that's why I say it does come down to personal preference. You can decide whether you want to farm a bunch of these legendaries when you are low level, like around level 30 to 35, before you start pushing to level 50, or if you just want 1 or 2 that works, and then you're willing to live on purple gear and then just slowly start pushing. Either way, you need to farm gear. An amazing way to gain legendaries and really good purple gear is farming Vile bounties, which I am going to go over in a bit more depth later on in the video, but this ultimately leads me on to the next step. Step 4, farm loot for other alt characters. This may seem very weird, but it's something that I only realized when I hit like level 40 with my Harlow alt, and I actually wish I did when I was around level 30. It's a pretty good idea to actually start farming some really good purple or legendary gear between level 30 to 40 to help you when you start another alt character. You obviously do not need to go all in on this, please, and spend hours trying to farm a bunch of gear, but just keep an eye out for certain purple weapons and some legendaries along the way and bank them, so that when you start a new character, then you'll have a much smoother experience. You obviously do not want to flood your bank with a bunch of leveling gear per se, in a sense, so just a few pieces of gear every few levels should suffice. And then step 5, getting your character to level 50 as fast as possible. This is a no-brainer. Getting your character to level 50 is top priority so that you can actually start farming better level 50 gear and start progressing your way through to UVH 5. Getting from level 30 to 50 is a grind, but I have some pointers to help you level up really fast. As we all know by now, there are 2 main ways to level up fast in Borderlands 4. One is bounties, and 2 is the Pitted Stain drill site over here next to Idolator's Soul. Now this is 100% a good farm to run. Personally, I find this to get a tad bit boring doing the same thing over and over again, and just as a solo player, I actually think bounties are better. I personally did the bounty method, but I would like to suggest you try the way that I did. From level 30 to 40, I first gathered some gear by Splash Zone. At around level 33-ish, I started going for bounties. You get normal blue bounties and then you get Vile bounties. Vile bounties are actually what we want. They give a crap ton of XP, especially when you're lower level. But at this point, you won't be strong enough for UVH1 just yet. So I switched to hard difficulty, no UVH. I went for every blue and Vile bounty that I came across, gained a few levels and tried UVH1. If you feel like you can do UVH1, then stay there and just try to do every normal bounty and Vile bounty that you find. If you can, of course. If you cannot, farm some more legendaries, get better gear every few levels, and then when you feel comfortable, switch to UVH1 and stay there. In order for you to comfortably get bounties to reset, you have to switch between UVH1 and hard difficulty the whole time in the session settings. That allows you to rotate and basically reset the bounty board all the time and helps you to get more Vile bounties. This method got me to around level 40 pretty quickly, and at this point I recommend going back to farm some better legendaries or better gear if you haven't gotten something good from the bounty rewards or from what you've been killing along the way. For example, with Harlow, I went back to Splash Zone to get better purples and level 40 Fireworks Shield, and this helped me just feel a little bit stronger by then. For the strategy, I did focus bounties on the whole left side of the map. Going up to low rise, I would just TP between all the different places, and I would look at the bounty boards very quickly, and then I would obviously do whatever's there, and I would grab stuff along the way. I then stopped and went to complete the UVH 1 to 2 challenge. At this point, I actually managed to get around level 42 from doing these challenges and killing things along the way. After I unlocked UVH2, I then switched up to only focusing on Vile bounties. There are 3 reasons for this. Vile bounties have a good chance of giving you legendaries from their rewards. 2, they give you more XP the higher the UVH level. So UVH2 bounties actually give you more XP, meaning you scale and level faster. And 3, the higher the UVH level, the higher the chance of you getting Vile bounties. So my next strategy was as follows. I would still focus the left side of the map up to low rise, and then I would do the reset method by changing between UVH 1 and 2 the whole time. Bouncing between the two means you have a much higher chance of vile bounty spawning, making this incredibly fast. It took me about an hour and 30-ish minutes to get from level 42 to 50. The reason I prefer switching between the UVH 1 and 2 is because it's a lot faster than leaving to the main menu and going back the whole time. This method is absolutely amazing because you're farming a ton of XP to level, you're gaining a lot of specialization XP, you're getting legendaries on the vile bounty rewards. It's overall a better method in my opinion, and you get iridium too. But the problem with this method is if you do not have a fast PC or fast console, the loading times might be a problem, so it might not be as fast. So this does come down to you testing it and seeing if it works for you. I want to make this very clear, you can go farm the pitted stain or play the game normally and how you want to. You don't have to do this. The only reason I would suggest rushing to level 50 is purely for the fact of farming more and more level 50 legendary gear since it's max level, which helps you to start min-maxing your build. But honestly, there is no need to sweat in Borderlands, you just need to have fun. Finally, bonus tips. I would recommend getting all of your drill sites and order bunkers out of the way as fast as possible so that you can start farming your legendaries at different bosses and so on. Doing certain side quests to unlock, certain bosses is incredibly important, like one gassy issue and one slimy issue, as well as null and void plus all charged up for the Sludgemore boss and enter the Electi as well. It's also nice to just slowly start completing your side quests again. I would also recommend at level 50 you complete the Vendor the Line quest, which will net you a legendary at the end. Maurice's Black Market is also a very good thing to do once you hit level 50, or when you're leveling, you can just go and get a legendary and help you level easier basically, if you get enough money. Actually checking your vending machines as much as possible is a pretty good idea. I actually managed to pick up some insanely good legendaries and good purples just by checking them every now and then. Don't sleep on vending machines, they're actually pretty good. Getting money in Borderlands is pretty easy considering you can sell junk purples and so on and blues, so don't worry too much about money. You just need to farm Splash Zone for like 30 minutes and you're good to go. And that pretty much concludes the top 5 things you need to do when starting an old character in Borderlands 4. Now, I do want to say you can wait until you are level 50 by farming bounties or the pitted stain drill site before you go and do all of that extra stuff. This is up to you, but I personally found taking it ever so slightly slower, focusing on bounties, going to UVH2, getting all your safe houses and order silos done, just meant a lot of stuff was done by the time I reached level 50, and then I can start focus on target farming, other things and so on. Thank you so much for watching the video. I have a Harlow build video coming soon. I'll be honest, Harlow is literally like my favorite character right now. She's absolutely broken and she's by far my favorite Vault Hunter, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like. It really helps me spread out the video. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you. Bye now.